Hey guys, Mr. Roy here. I am going to give you a quick little tutorial about getting started with Soundtrap. If you were in our Google Meets, you may have already seen this and you may already be set, but just in case you were not able to make it to one of those and you're trying to figure this thing out, this video is here to help. So first of all, you have to follow the link that we have in Schoology to get connected. You get a free account that's full featured. It gives you all the stuff that's included in Soundtrap, but it happens through our school. The people at Soundtrap were nice enough to do that for us. So in order to do that, follow that link that I gave you, and it's going to end up leading you to this Soundtrap website where you have to sign up with Google. Okay, so when you do that, make sure that you are using your BCPS credentials. So your email would be, whatever your username is at bcps.org. And then when it asks you for your password, use your normal password and that will get you connected. When you're in that way, it protects you as a student from all of the community features. That way you guys, I know that you're safe online. And it's the educational environment of Soundtrap. Okay, so once you get there, you should be at your home screen. Here's what mine looks like. You can change your name. You should have just your 3 initials and the 3 numbers to start off as your username, your BCPS username. But I think if you hit this little pencil here, you can go ahead and put your actual name in, which would help me because I always have to think really hard about your initials. If you go to share something with me, or I'm going to look at what you're working on, it'd be nice to see your name. So make sure you do that and put your name in there. That would help. Okay, so we're going to go over some of the basics. Things that you're not confused when you get into it. It's pretty easy to figure out. I think most of you are pretty tech savvy and can figure it out, but just in case, let's go through some of the basic features. So I hit Enter Studio, which will load up a new blank one here. We're going to do music. And so along the left side here, you have all of the tracks that you're using. So these would be individual instruments. Maybe if you record your voice, if you load up any of the presets that Soundtrap has, they're going to show up here in a list, and then you can edit them from there. Okay, so this is mostly what we're going to try to do today, is add some stuff and mix down the music. You can put your title in right here. So this will be Mr. Roy's tutorial. Okay, we got that in there. You're going to want to hit save. I think the web browser will tell you, like, if you're going to leave, are you sure you want to leave? And make sure you hit save because it knows whether or not things are saved. You'd hate to work on something and then have to restart. There's always the undo button. I think Control Z is also undo. So if you make a mistake, you want to go back, and I don't like what I just did, you can always go back. And that makes things nice and easy. So what we're going to do is add a new track. Now, if you click here to add a track or here to add a track, it's going to give you all the options. Okay, there's 3 things you can do. You can record yourself with your microphone. You can use instruments that are presets in here. So they're digital instruments, but you can use them and the sounds that are there by playing on your keyboard. If you even can hook up your own keyboard through USB, then you could use that too. That would work. But today we're going to mostly use the loop library because this, you don't actually have to compose anything on your own. You can just use what other people have done and learn how to mix in Soundtrap. So that's what we're going to do. So you can click that add a new track and hit here. And it brings this up. But actually, the entire time on this right side, these little buttons are here waiting for you. So if you ever just want to grab a loop, you can hit this little 8th note icon right there. And this is all of the things that they include. Actually, this isn't all of them. This is featured. So if you get rid of the search bar here, all of the different sounds that they have, presets for you to mess around with and use, are all over here. So you can just go through and start listening to what they're like. A pad is like usually a synthesizer sound. You can hear that. Let's go try and find maybe like a bass line. What's this? Kind of fun. Maybe we'll use that one. So I think you can just double click it. Yep, and it adds it over here. There you go. And this actually is happening 4 times. If you can tell, these little divots right there are showing you how long it is. Kind of cool. I'm going to stop it down here. Your controls are down here for stop, fast forward, rewind. The key that it's in, you could totally change it to a higher or lower pitch. So this looks like it's a minor key. So we can make it higher because E is 2 notes higher than. Sure, adjust it. Why not? And then let's see what it sounds like. Ready? Play. I made it higher. There you go. I'm actually going to undo. So here's that undo button. and just put it back to the way it was. Okay, so this one is repeating 4 times. You can see these little numbers are measure numbers, is how many measures it goes by. So you can always shorten it up or lengthen it, do whatever you want. But this one is now in here. So what we'll do is let's find another one. Let's maybe get like some kind of drums to go with it, because that's just a bass line. So they have beats, drums. These are like keywords you can search. You can search for anything. You could like type in a certain type of drum and see what's there, because you're using their entire library. It's like 4,000 or more things that you can choose from. We'll just search for drums and see what we got. And then push play. Let's see. Let's try that one. You can start to hear different beats. What's this? Oh, it sounds like an acoustic drum set. I'm just picking things at random. You know what I actually like to do is, let me stop this, is you can actually play this thing and then play the samples over here, and it'll put them in time so you know what they'll sound like together, which is kind of cool. Let's try one. See? Pretty neat. Keeps them all in sync with the tempo. Try another one. I like the other one better. Let's see what else is there. Just 4 kicks. That's just the downbeat. That's a good build-up kind of a sound. Let's add that in. That'll be like a good build-up. You can feel the beat drop is coming. All right, so now we have some of these things to work with. What else will we maybe want to use in here? We need like a full beat. I think that little build-up is cool, but we're going to need another one. So I'm going to play this, but I'm going to mute the build-up beat, so that I probably am not going to have this once the full beat comes in. So I'm going to go over here. These tools are kind of cool. You can adjust the volume of individual tracks right here. You can solo it, meaning it just muted that one, and I'm only going to hear this one. That's kind of cool. Or you can just mute a track, which is what I want to do here. Just turn that one off. So that way I don't hear it right now, but I will hear this one. Let me push play. And let's find another drum beat that maybe will be like our full beat. Let's see. That sounds too traditional rock. We want, let's see what happens when we search for beats. Ooh, new ones. Let's see what we got. Nah, that still sounds like a build-up. Want something more full. That one's weird. That one's still pretty small. Let's go back. We can find that other one that we were using. Drums. I don't remember what it was. I should have looked to see. Let's see. Disco. Let's see. There's so many options. You can get lost doing this. Just continue searching for something cool. Alright, so maybe we'll use this. It's not going to be a huge build-up, but it's something at least. Oh no, it wasn't a gasoline. Let me see. Sure. Alright, this is a little fuller. It sounds kind of like a rock band, but that's fine. Let's add it and double-click it. You can also drag them over like this and put them wherever you want. You know, see how it like shows a little box? I just double-click them and put them in. Oh no, we had it did it twice. Let me delete that. These little 3 buttons here allow you to delete things. Okay, so now that we just have this is probably good. We'll just stick with these 3. You guys are going to want to add more. You can find all kinds of cool stuff, and I'll show you the sample one that I made at the end of this. But here's what we want to do, okay? Now that we have these tracks in here, let me point out a couple things. First off, these tracks that look like these lines, these are waveforms. It means they are pre-recorded, like someone hooked up a microphone to an instrument and recorded it. Whereas this one looks like little like dots all through it like this. This is actually like a digital MIDI notes, or like a piano roll is used where you actually play the notes in and you can change one note at a time. So like if I double click, or if I hit this edit right here, and I do edit notes, you can actually see here's a keyboard, and you can move these notes around. They're actually played in one note at a time, so it's very electronic. The whole thing can be manipulated real easily. Whereas something like this, when you hit edit, you can't do that. You can't change it. This was like someone hooked a microphone up to an instrument and played it in, so you don't get the digital one note at a time. So there's 2 different types of sounds, and you can tell right here, this is like the waveform symbol, and it kind of looks like those little lines. And this is actually an instrument that you can play in. And it's kind of cool. Like if you click the instrument, you could actually, right? You could actually do that or use your keyboard. And this is how you can kind of record with the drum set. There's all these settings. We'll get into all that in the future, but that's kind of the differences in the two sounds. This is actually an instrument, and these are just pre-recorded things that you're messing around with. Now, the second thing to point out is the way these blocks of sound work. So if you notice, okay, right here, these are 2 measures long. This little clip is 2 measures long. See, it goes 1, 2, and then at beat measure 3, it's got the little divot and starting over. Down here, this one actually lasted 4 full measures because it doesn't reset until measure 5. Well, what's going on here is you're just repeating this. So this little like looper button, see that right there? When you go over top of that little thing, if you click and drag, this is going to keep looping it. And so you can make it longer. You can see I'm getting up to measure 29 right there. See? So you can keep that thing going and repeat it over and over again. So that's the way that one works right there. Okay, so you can just repeat it. You could take, let me unmute this. You can take this whole thing and move it over, you know what I mean? So I think what we want to do is we want to hear our little beat, our little like lick start, a bass note, bass line, right? And then we want this build up to start. So we move this over. So we'll hear this happen twice. And then it keeps going, and then our little build up starts. And I think we probably don't want the build to be too long. I'm going to make this just a quick tutorial. So let me shorten that one to just 2 measures. And then when the full beat comes in, right? And that one's already 2 measures long by itself, so let's not have that one repeat. We're good. Now the only thing is that right here, this one will start and stop. This will take over our drum sound, but then we have to make sure we extend this, or we're not going to hear it anymore. So let's see what this sounds like. Let me go back to the beginning, so you could drag this little timeline back. Then you can hit stop. That also brings it back to the beginning, and here we go. All right. This should be our drum build up, right? That needs to be a little louder. There we go. 4 on the floor, that's what you call that. And here comes. Oh, so what just went wrong? Okay, I'm glad I would have forgot to tell you this. So what's happening right now is that this thing is set to loop and repeat over and over again. It's what happens when we're like trying to test things out. We don't want it to play and stop. But if you're actually doing a song, you don't want it to just loop over and over again. You want it to go through the rest of your timeline. If you see this blue thing right here, this is telling you it's going to loop. So we could just extend it and then it would replay the entire thing. But if you're actually doing a song, you want to turn the loop off. That button is right here. And that will cycle on or off the loop. So now it'll just play. It'll actually keep going forever until we hit stop. So now we should get the full effect right there. Okay, let's see. Our opening bass line. Here comes the kick drum. Still a little louder on that one. There you go. And then full drums. So I think you get the idea of what's going on here. So right now it just stops, but it's kind of cool, you know, maybe we want to take one of these and copy it, and then maybe put it over here, paste it, and then it can like, it starts to bring it back down a little bit, or you can change the feel for it. Maybe I'll just do this and we'll have it, you know, go full, then back to the little, and then it can just end. You know, so that kind of gives you the idea. So once we're into the full thing, is what will be happening. Move the timeline to where we want to start, and then it goes back. Gets us out of the song, I guess. So that's a lot of the same thing. There's some cool stuff you can do. Now, first of all, this is looping forever. I have noticed that it's kind of cool to sometimes not loop it. Because let's say I just wanted to go doom, doom one time right there, and that could be the end of the song. So I actually want it to stop right here. The problem with the loop is, well, actually it does work. Look, we could do it that way. You can just cut it short just like that. A lot of times what I will do is I will not actually have it loop. I will do something like this because it helps me control it better, and I can mute sections. I'll do something like this. I'll keep just one of them, and then I will double it. So like maybe I'll hit copy on this and put the thing where I want and paste it in. And I use a lot of keyboard commands. If you notice, like paste is Control V. That's helpful. But even better, see, like every time I hit Control V, it moves it over. And now they're all separate individual. It sounds the same way, but it actually helps you move them around a little better. I normally don't use this looper thing a lot because then I'll get to be like, wait, I want to split this. and it gets kind of tricky. So like you could do it though. Like let's say we wanted to split this right here. I think you go and right click right where you have it and do split. Nope, see, this is why I think I remember always wanting to do it a little differently, because it doesn't have split region available. I'm not sure why. I thought it would, but either way, normally you can, oh, there it is, split region. See, I'm not sure why it wasn't there before, and then actually lets you split it, but I'm not sure what happened right here. Like, you know, things got weird. So I'm going to undo, and that's why I tend to not use that looping feature. I'll just keep doing it. The cool thing is this: if you go over here, and we want to make sure we repeat this one out, and you hold down the Alt key, no ALT, next to your space bar. At least it's next to my space bar. It might be on yours too. If you hold that down and click it, it actually will grab what you have and automatically copy it. So, whoops. So you can go ahead and do that too. That makes it a lot easier. And so this last one right here, we want to be shorter. And here's adjust ending too. So you can use the loop changer, but now you can't because it's just one. Like this will repeat the whole thing. I'm going to go down here and grab the adjust ending and shorten it so we just get that little doon doon, and that'll be the end of our song. So let's see, on its way out it'll sound like this. The drum ends in. Up, so look, I have to shorten it a little bit more, and I think I'm going to zoom in. Right, so the little zoom features right here. You know, I use the control button and my mouse wheel a lot. See, this is me using my mouse wheel while I hold down control. That helps a lot. You can even see like the electronic sound. So I actually want to get rid of this. So if we just move this over so that doesn't sound. Now it should have, let me zoom back out. You can use this too if you want, down here. And let's see as it finishes. Right, we should get the double note. Boom, boom. And then it ends, which is kind of cool. I probably put a fade out on here so it doesn't sound so abrupt. But that's for another day, all right? So it's kind of cool. I think the assignment for this week is just to try, let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing, just to try and grab some loops, different ones, mix and match, have some fun with it, you know, have things start and stop, get used to the controls and how everything works. Make sure you always hit save so that that thing is saved and you're good to go, okay? And you can share with me. So if you hit the share button right here, it will give you a link so I can just listen to it. That would be great. You can send me a message with yours. You know, I may make a turn in for this where you just paste your link into a Word document and then submit it. That would make it really easy. Okay, that way I can check it. The other thing you can do is add a collaborator. Okay, if you do this, it makes my list of songs really long on my homepage, but I don't mind doing that. I think if you put Mr. Roy Music in here, I think that's how it will find it. Enter a name. I could be wrong. Sorry, couldn't. Yeah, so what we'll do for now, I have to remember how that works. It's not too hard to add a collaborator. I just can't remember how that thing works. But if you just copy your link, right, I can totally just go ahead and paste this or put it in a message to somebody, and then they can click it and they'll be able to listen to it, whether they have a Soundtrap account or not. So that way you can check out each other's things. That's kind of cool. And I will figure out how to do that collaborator. I think it has to do with who is in my group right now, and I think I made this outside of my group. So that's why, like, I have you guys all grouped by class. So you'll be able to share with anybody in class. Their name should pop up pretty easily. And you guys could work on things together even, or record each other singing and do the whole thing. So there's all kinds of potential possibilities that we have for this. So that'll be pretty cool. Okay, so let me close this so you guys see how the demo works. I always move that away because it gets in the way after a while. Click that, it goes away. And my little test song, I didn't even think about it, I just quickly put something together. You guys should have some fun messing with it. So I'm going to go back to the studio and I'll show you one that I made that has all this kind of cool stuff so you can see what's going on. Once you really dive in and go crazy with it, Mr. Roy's demo, this is the one. Okay, I thought this was kind of cool. I did all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to use this over the next weeks while we're on this distance learning to show you how things work. Because I put, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different things in here. Some of them are just really short little moments. Some of them are minor. I have them turned down a bit, but they're in there. Okay, this is the fade in right here. You can see some of mine are actual notes played in. I played some of these in. I played my own bass line in. I grabbed a couple of these from the loops, and I just mixed and matched a whole bunch of stuff. And this is what it sounds like. Check it out. go. So I use vocal effects. I found I have this little sweeping sound, which is really cool, leading into my little beat drop. Look, I'll solo that for you. Right, you can find these things. I actually really adjusted it. This is like a really long sound, and I just grabbed a quick snippet out of it that I liked. It cuts off quick, but because the beat drops, you don't notice that little quick cutoff. And so there's a lot of fun stuff you can do, mess around with it, and try some things. One thing I don't have in here is any actual recording of my voice, but you can always use your microphone to record and sing and do all kinds of cool stuff. So that's where we're headed. All right, guys, hopefully you've learned something here. You'll be able to mess around with the loops and send me what you're working on at the end of the week or into next week so I can hear your progress. And then next week we'll try to record our own things, making like pulling an instrument and trying to play something in ourselves, which is kind of fun, kind of difficult maybe, but there's a lot of tools we can use to make that happen. All right. Good luck, have some fun, and I will see you next time.